So as you can tell by the title, we're going to be discussing how Kafka got his Kaiju powers. And I've already done a video talking about this subject, so go check that one out first if you haven't already. With that being said, let's get into it. In chapter 36, Kafka is inside his mind with his Kaiju, when the Kaiju says these two words, kill Kaiju. And that's it. It's almost like it's programmed to say these words. Like killing Kaiju is its one and only purpose. And that would also explain why it took over and wants to kill Mr. Shinamiya. Because he's using a Kaiju's powers, which likely emits a lot of Kaiju aura. So based on that, it's clear that there's something bigger behind this. Because from what we've seen, Kaijus don't just kill each other like that. So there has to be either a person or an organization that somehow managed to capture a Kaiju, or maybe create one, and then brainwash it into killing other Kaiju. Maybe after biologically messing with this Kaiju brain and condensing all its power into this small creature, it then gave it the order to kill Kaiju and find a host. And then, as previously mentioned in my first theory video, the Kaiju chose Kafka in big part to his compatibility, which makes it so that the Kaiju can't take over his brain. However, this is where it differs from my old theory, because I doubt that the Kaiju chose Kafka on his own free will. It just doesn't really make sense. I think it's far more likely that someone's behind this and has been following Kafka and scouting him out as a likely possible vessel for this Kaiju power. They had to make sure he has good intentions and a good heart. So who could this mysterious person be? Well, I'm not exactly sure who it could be, but I've narrowed it down to one thing. That person is in the cleanup service. It only makes sense, because that's where Kafka spent most of his life. That would also mean he saw Kafka risk his life to save Leno, which could have been set up as a test by him, to make sure that Kafka has a good heart, and that he would use his powers for good. And not only that, but being in the cleanup service would mean that he has access to a lot of powerful Kaijus that he could easily take samples of, which is essential to create these Kaiju powers. I mean, think about it, it's not a stretch that someone working as a literal Kaiju janitor could easily take samples of DNA, or even body parts from extremely strong Kaiju, which he then could use to create the bedbug thing that went inside Kafka. And to create such powerful Kaiju, it's possible that an identified Kaiju's DNA was used, like for example Kaiju number 6, who we found out in a recent chapter to have been one of the strongest identified Kaijus ever, which would make sense because Kafka has a fortitude of 9.8, which is insane. That would also mean that he's been working on these Kaiju for a while and experimenting all this time. Anyway, that's it for this video. Let me know what you think about this theory, and I'll see you next time.